Hey, baseball fans, it's Jason. Hope you're all doing well. I'm sitting outside getting some fresh air on my porch since neighborhoods and businesses and everything's been shut down, and I'm in the state that has a stay-at-home order in my county, so you can't really do much aside from go for a walk. But how many walks are you going to do every day? And go grocery shopping. But anyway, I want to talk about my next list, okay? And this is the 10 most loved baseball players, 10 most loved and respected baseball players of all time, okay? This is a list I think you're going to find fascinating, as well as my next video after this. I'm going to go over the 10 most hated and detested baseball players of all time, statistics aside, okay? So let's go over this, the 10 most loved and respected. You'll probably be, agree with most of the players on this list. If you have other players that you think should be on there, put them in the comments down below. And bottom line is, if you're a baseball fan, this channel's for you, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and hit the notification, because I put 2 new videos out every week. So let's get to it, okay? And I'll give you a little bit of statistical background of each player as well. So number 10, Roberto Clemente. Not only was he one of the most young, dynamic baseball players of all time, he was a career .317 hitter, had exactly 3,000 hits on the button, 1,305 RBIs. I have my list I'm looking down at here, and he was 240 home runs as well. But what he did off the field, he was a big charity work person, and he was killed in a plane crash, and he was heading out to, I think it was it Venezuela or Nicaragua? I think it was Nicaragua, heading to drop off emergency supplies to folks that were just ravaged by an earthquake. So he was one of those players that gave as much off the field or even more off the field as he did on the field. So that's one of the reasons he was so beloved. And he was just one of the more respected players in baseball as well. So he's number 10. Number 9, George Brett. And how could you not respect this guy? He was the ultimate blue-collar player, hitter. 317 home runs, 1,596 RBIs, a career .305 hitter, and just a fiery all-around player. Some of the things, something that we miss nowadays, because now the fire is a little bit different. Back in the day, and you remember the Pine Tar incident. If you haven't, take a look at the Pine Tar incident in Yankee Stadium. When he gets a home run pulled back, he goes nuts. But he's the type of player that I would want to model myself after. If I was a Major League Baseball player, he's just the ultimate blue collar guy, and he's a great player all around, offense and defense. Number 8, Mr. Fascinating, Ichiro Suzuki, called smooth as butter. This guy, he was a top player in Japan for, 6 or 7 years. He was amassed thousands of hits in Japan. And then he came over here, and in, I think it was 16 years maybe, he got 3,089 hits, and he batted .311. And if you combine his stats in Japan and Major League, he actually surpasses Pete Rose as the all-time professional baseball hits leader. He also has the record, I think it's 267, 264 for individual hits in a season. He was Rookie of the Year and MVP as a rookie. He was just all-around unbelievable player. He's so fun to watch. He had a cannon for an arm. He was like 150 pounds, soaking wet. And the guy was one of the best players you'll see in this generation. Number 7, the late Tony Gwynn. Man, I remember him. I'm a Yankee fan. I remember him in the 1998 World Series. Took it to the Yankees. Took it to David Wells and some of the other players. And that was on the back end of his career. And he still took it to the Yankees. This guy was a .338 career hitter. 3,141 hits. And a 1,138 career RBIs. As well as a clutch hitter. A great outfielder. And just an all-around dynamic guy. He was a great personality. He was a great clubhouse guy. Gave great interviews. Had great charisma. And unfortunately, he left us way too soon with, I think, a cancer of the mouth from a lifetime of chewing tobacco, unfortunately. But he was one of the best players I've ever seen, unfortunately. So we'll miss him. Number 7, also another late player, Kirby Puckett. He had a short career as well, unfortunately. I think he had some glaucoma and some eye issues and stuff like that. That cut his career short, but he was another clutch player, great personality, awesome clubhouse guy. He was a .318 career hitter, 207 home runs, and 1,085 RBIs, and again in a shortened career. He was an amazing guy too. He led the Twins, helped lead the Twins to 2 World Series championships, one of which I think he hit the game-winning hit or home run, which is awesome. And again, one of the best players in the 80s and 90s. We'll miss him too. Number 5, and this is actually funny because Pete Rose is going to be on both my lists. I'll just give you a heads up. But as one of the most beloved players of all time, he's also one of the most hated players of all time, Pete Rose. 4,256 hits. He's obviously the most, the all-time hits leader. He was a 303 hitter. We also had 1,604 RBIs, and 1,314. 131 home runs, I think it was. Yeah, 131 home runs. Excuse me. 131 home runs. So he was just an all-around player. And obviously he's the greatest hitting machine in baseball history. They call him Charlie Hustle for a reason. Obviously he's hated because of what he did gambling, but he never cheated like some of these players now with the steroids and performance-enhancing stuff like that. Yes, he gambled on baseball. He paid the price. And unfortunately, he's still banned for life, which kind of perturbs me because other cheaters have not been banned for life, aside from like Shoeless Joe Jackson and some of those guys. But, again, he's both on my list, but he's number 5 on my most beloved list. Number 4, the real all-time, in my opinion, the real all-time home runs leader, Hank Aaron. 755 home runs, 2,297 RBIs, and a career 305 hitter. If you look at his career, the guy averaged like 45 home runs for almost 20 years. It's crazy. And he was just a good guy. And again, he was in that era with Jackie Robinson, and there was a lot of death threats about him breaking, Babe Ruth, the white legend god, baseball god's home run record, and the stuff that he went through, and still persevered and still did what he did is nothing short of remarkable. So he's number 4 on my list. Number 3, Lou Gehrig. Unfortunately, his career was cut short too by Lou Gehrig's disease or ALS. He died. I think he was 36 or 37 when he passed away. But he was a career 340 hitter, 493 home runs, and 1,995 RBIs in a shortened career. And here's one other stat that's going to blow your mind. Okay, for the people who are really into stats, his WAR career was 114.1. Career WAR of 114.1. Boom, mind-boggling. Okay. And he gave one of the most memorable speeches. He was in baseball history. He was Babe Ruth's teammate. He was in Murderer's Row, and he's one of the most classy players you'll ever come across. I have a special bond with him because his birthday's my birthday, June 19th. So I just feel fortunate to share his birthday with him, and he's one of my favorite baseball players of all time. And I'm a diehard Yankee fan. He is also a New York guy. He went to Columbia University. He also played football. He was a well-rounded guy, and I would have loved to have seen that guy play. All right, we're down to my last 2. Jackie Robinson, number 2. Okay, career 311 hitter, and this is 10 seasons. Okay, 137 home runs and 734 RBIs. Okay, so he was the first black player. He was a transcendent player. Okay, the first black player to ever come through the major leagues, and what he went through, and the stuff that they tried sabotaging the guy over his career, and he still came out. He still played every day, and he still persevered, and he still put up those stats, and he's going to forever be remembered and loved for that. And he's another guy that I wish I would have been able to see play, because actually seeing him play, you would just grown to love and respect him. And a lot of players did, but unfortunately, he was the one person that had to go through what he did, but he's also, fortunately, the person he was the Renaissance man. He set the new standard, and he started something new, so he's forever going to be entrenched in baseball history in that regard. So much respect, Jackie Robinson. And number 1, George Herman, Babe Ruth. This is what's fascinating about Babe Ruth. Okay, not only was a 342 career hitter, 714 home runs, 2,873 hits, and 2,214 RBIs, and he did crazy stuff like a called shot. He also swung like almost a 50-ounce bat, which is almost 20 ounces heavier than most of the players nowadays. He's like swinging a tree trunk. He was also like a big slovenly guy. He wasn't a guy that worked out. He wasn't like a Hulk like Mark McGwire and some of these other guys and Giancarlo Stanton. He was just he was a big dude, but he had a gift. But the thing that made him outer-worldly was his pitching stats. Okay, he was also a pitcher for 10 years. The majority in the beginning of his career, he was pretty much solely a pitcher who could actually hit, which is why they turned him into an offensive player. Aside from the Red Sox selling him to the Yankees to finance a Broadway show for $100,000, here's some basic stats. Okay, over 10 pitching years, he was 94-46. Okay, with a 2.28 career ERA. Insane. So in partial seasons, he averaged his average for 162 game season was 21 and 10. 21 and 10 for pitching. I mean, he was the best pitcher in baseball and the best pure hitter ever, in my opinion, because he could do everything. So that's my list. That's my top 10. Let me know what you think. If you think some other players should be on the list, put them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up, and I greatly appreciate your support. Even if you don't plan on watching all my videos, please hit that subscribe button. I want to continue growing this channel. I want to make it one of the best ones out there. It's from a regular dude, a baseball fan, for the fan. So keep an eye out for my next video. I'm going to go over the 10 most hated players in baseball.